you a story about Solrød Biogas. Solrød is a small, it's a suburb to Copenhagen, just south of Copenhagen, near the coast. In Solrød, we put the community of Solrød here. They have some nice beaches just next to the community, and they're very happy about their beaches, but they have a problem. A lot of seaweed is washed up from the sea, and it's there on the beaches. It doesn't look nice, but also they don't like the smell of it. It's rotting there, emitting a lot of smell, also emitting a lot of methane, but the citizens were more concerned about the smell. So they asked the community or the municipality, what can we do about this? You need to do something, you need to clean our beaches. And they had a discussion with the municipality, what can we do? And some came up with the idea, maybe we can use this weed as a raw material for biogas production. So they started to plan, can we set up a biogas plant that will use this weed, solve our problem, and producing energy at the same time. So that was the idea. We will build a biogas plant, and we will take the wheat from the beach and we will feed it to the biogas plant. Then of course, from the biogas that we get from the plant, we will make electricity. So we will pipe the methane, the main gas formed at the biogas plant. We will pipe it to a nearby power plant. We will burn the gas in generators and produce electricity. And so we can supply the community with electricity. And because when you produce electricity, you also have a lot of excess heat that is generated during the process. And they wanted to use that heat as well. So whereas the electricity fed into the general grid, the heat would be used locally, specifically by that community. They would heat water, they would pipe it in district heating system to all the houses so they could heat their houses. And Denmark is often a cold place, so we need heat to heat our houses. In this way, they could solve the problem by producing biogas, and they could use the biogas for energy. So that sounded like a great solution. Then of course, when you produce biogas from the wheat, something comes out. There's a sludge afterwards. Once you digested the organic material, there's like a liquid sludge that contains a lot of nutrients, and you need to do something about that. And they said, well, the farms can get the nutrients for their fields. So this was the picture they were looking at. But then when they did more studies, they also found out that the seaweed alone is not a very good raw material. They needed to find more raw materials. And it's well known that manure from farms is a good raw material for biogas production also. So agreement was made with some of the big livestock farmers in the area that the farms could deliver manure to the biogas plant, and in return they would get nutrients for their fields. To the farms, this is a very good idea actually. When they take the manure from the stables, from the animals directly to the fields, which they used to do, one thing is there's a lot of smell. Neighbors don't like it, so there were complaints. This is an area near the city. Another thing is that when you do that, a lot of gases evaporates. So actually there is those are greenhouse gases, nitrous oxides, it's methane. So there's a lot of emission from this. So when you take it to the biogas plant and the organic material is digested, you get the nutrients back. It doesn't smell very much. You're not emitting greenhouse gases, at least less. But also, actually, the fertilizer is an improved fertilizer in the sense that the plants can much more readily absorb the nutrients, meaning that less is lost to the groundwater or evaporates. So it's a win. It's less smell, it's less greenhouse gas emission, it's improved fertilizer, and it's energy production. So a lot of wins involved in this. They also looked, could there be other raw materials in the vicinity? And one of the raw materials they found that could be, that was there as well, was the byproduct or waste from a pectin producer that was located nearby, a big pectin producer. Here we'll just take one step back, because we actually will start far from Denmark in an orange plantation. The oranges can be grown to produce oranges for fruit, for juice. So oranges to the juice producer, and the juice producer of course produce juice and sell it. But you have a lot of leftovers when you produce juice from oranges, a lot of peel. What to do with the peel? Well, the pectin producer is buying the peel. The peel contains pectins, and they extract it from the peel and they sell the pectin. The pectin is a food additive. It's used for stabilizing agent. It can be used also for making jelly or marmalades to make it jelly-like or stiff. So it's a big business for them, but they still have, once they've extracted what they want, there's still a lot of material left over. It turns out that too was an excellent input for a biogas plant. So manure from the farms, left over from the pectin production, which eventually came from the orange plantation, seaweed from the beach, were three of the main sources that for the biogas plant, and they identified others as well. So we have a very nice system here. We could, if it wasn't for the distance, we could of course feed the the sludge, the leftover from the biogas plant, to the orange plantation as well. Instead it goes to a Danish farm because it doesn't make sense to ship it to Middle East or Southern Europe. But in principle, it's a closed loop and where all the byproducts are used as a raw material in the next step. There are other benefits. If the seaweeds from the beach were left to rot on the beach, apart from not looking nice and smelling, it would emit a lot of methane, because it's a dense pile, it's wet, and it's the way it breaks down is anaerobic, and it means that methane is produced, so we have methane emission. But another problem is that then, once it rots away, the nutrients are released again, as it happens in the biogas plant, and they're washed into the sea. And the seas around Denmark are already too polluted with nutrients, partly coming from the farms, because when it rains, some of it enters our streams and may eventually end up in the sea. But in this way, actually, we help get some of the nutrients back to the farms where they came from, so we close another loop. So things are really connected. That's the way we want to do green growth. We don't want waste. Waste is always raw material for something else. If we have waste, we simply haven't done our job well enough, you can say. We need to close the loops. We need to make the best of all the resources, use them as raw materials for something new, or return them back to nature where they came from in the first place. So I think it's a nice example of those loops of a green growth case with a lot of wins. To all of this, I could also add that we see a lot of actors here, and actually this is a very good example of what we call a PPP, a public-private partnership. We have private organizations, private companies here. We have the municipality, who actually became the owner of the biogas plant. We have the citizens here who started the whole thing in the first place and who are also involved. We have a heat and power plant, which is run as a company, but it's actually owned by the community. So the actors play together, and it worked out as a very nice also example of a public-private partnership. Thank you very much.